Andariki namaskaramuలు. Shubhodayam. Today is the 21st day of our lectures on Sanatana Dharma as part of the second batch of certified course on Sanatana Dharma. We had so far lectures on Vedas, Vedangas, Upanishads, Darshanas, Dharma Sustras, and then Manasastra. And recently we had a webinar on Panchangam. So we started with the Bhagawadgita now. This is the second day and the last day of the Bhagawadgita. CSR Prabhu Garu is our course academic director. He is conducting these webinars. So let us start with Vande Mataram by Prakash ji, and then we will have Prarthana by Ananthan ji. Then we will have webinar. Let us all stand up and sing Vande Mataram along with Prakash ji.
Sir, Madal Bardana, sir.
Yeah.
Sarvebhyo Namaskaraha. Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram. Sujalam Subalam Malaya Sitalam Sasya Syamalam Mataram Vande Mataram Subrajosna Pulakitayaminim Pullakusumita Drumadala Sobinim Suhasinim Sumadurabashinim Sukadam Varadam Mataram Vande Mataram Vande Mataram. ధన్యవాదాలు సార్.
వందే మాతరం. ధన్యవాదములండి ప్రకాష్ గారు. Now
ధన్యవాదాలు సార్.
Yeah, ధన్యవాదాలు. Let us request Ananthan ji to do prarthana, and I also request all of you to follow him.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. 1 minute meditation. Close the eyes gently. Relax the body. Samam Kaya Shiro Grivam. Sit erect. Without interfering, watch the breath. Watch your body as any other object. Om. 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 Om Gananantva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashranvannoti Vissidasadanam Mahaganapataye Namaha. Prano Devi Saraswati Vajevirvajinivati Hinama Vidyavatu वाग्देव्यै नमः। गुरुरेव गतिर् गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे। न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।
ధన్యవాదములండి అనంతన్ గారు. So let us now request CSR Prabhu garu to start his webinar, please.
Om Friends, we'll be discussing the last day of Bhagawadgita class today. Yesterday we have discussed and understood the 6th chapter and practiced meditation as prescribed in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called Dhyana Yoga or Atma Samyama Yoga. We have also discussed Bhakti Yoga. Today we'll try to discuss primarily 15th chapter, but also other chapters in summary because we don't have any more time. Today is the last day. So in the second chapter itself, the entire Bhagavad Gita summary is presented, where the nature of the self or Atman or Paramatman is shown to be infinite, eternal, all-pervading, and deathless, birthless, and therefore, as Sthita Prajna, who is established in the Jnana, Atma Jnana or Brahma Jnana, will behave in an extremely mature way without getting affected by the dualities and extremities of life. यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तास निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च श्रुति विप्रतिपन्ना ते यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला समाधौ अचला बुद्धिः तदा योगमवाप्स्यसि. So when the buddhi and chitta are established in samadhi, yoga is achieved, and in that state of yoga, as sthita prajna will perform all actions without any attachment. So karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalahetubhur ma te sangostva karmani. So you have a responsibility and duty only to discharge your own karma and not others' karma, and also not doing akarma and also giving up the attachment to the result. So the karma yoga, which is stated briefly in the second chapter, is repeated in the third chapter and expanded in a big way. Karmano hyabibodhavyam bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. What is karma? What is akarma? What is vikarma? Karmanya karmaya pascheda karmani cha karmaya sa buddhiman manusheshu So a person who understands what is karma, what is akarma, what is vikarma, and sees karma and akarma in karma, that means doing everything but not doing anything. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagdhu karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. A person who is performing all karmas, but all karmas are burnt away with the fire of jnana. So jnana yoga in fourth chapter and karma yoga in third chapter are elaborately explained. Though karma yoga is briefly mentioned in the Ishavasya Upanishad, it is only in Bhagawadgita, the discovery of Lord Krishna himself. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum, he has brought out into this world the karma yoga as his own thesis in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the main central theme of the entire Bhagavad Gita, karma yoga. Then the supremacy of jnana and all karma will finally end in jnana. Sarvam karma kyam partha jnane parisamapyate. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyante te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha yajnatva na punarbhav. Having known which will not be born again. So this jnana yoga we have already discussed in the Ashtavakra Samhita session. And then we have discussed the sannyasa and karma yoga, karma sannyasa yoga, fifth chapter, where how while performing all karmas you can be a sannyasi. Anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha niragrita chakriya. The sixth chapter he defined who is a yogi, who is a sannyasi, and it is described that without attachment to the results of your actions, that means whether actions produce pleasant results or unpleasant results, if you are immune and if you are maintaining equanimity or equilibrium, then you are a yogi, karma yogi, you are also a sannyasi. Of course, sannyasa ashrama is different. So brahmacharya ashrama, grihastha-ashrama, vanaprastha-ashrama and sannyasa-ashrama. We are not undermining or eliminating the importance of sannyasa ashrama. Please note this. Lord Krishna has not undermined or reduced or diminished the importance of sannyasa ashrama, but he has given a mechanism of how to be a sannyasi without taking up sannyasa ashrama, even in grihastha ashrama and vanaprastha ashrama, or even brahmacharya ashrama, by being unattached to the result but not unattached to the action itself. You perform the action thoroughly without getting affected or being independent of the consequence of that action. You do your duty perfectly and don't expect something out of your duty performance. So that is karma yoga. So now I am just reviewing various chapters. In the sixth chapter, he has explained meditation. Yesterday we have gone through the meditation process. And in seventh chapter, he shows his various manifestations. And in the eighth chapter, the entire creation process is explained. 9th, 10th, 11th, he has shown the Vishwarupa. Pasyame partharupani shatashoth sahasrashaha. Nana vidhani divyani nana varnakrutini cha. Pasyadityan vasun rudran ashwinau marutastadha. Bahunya drishta purvani pasyaschariyani bharata. Ihaikastham jagat krishnam pasyadya sacharacharam. Mama dehe gudakeshe chanya drashtum ichhasi. O Arjuna, see in my body everything. Pasya Adityan, Vasun, Rudran, Ashno, all the constituents of this universe, the forces of this universe, the Devaganas, the Devata Shaktis, the Adityas, Rudras, Ashwins. You see everything in me. Whatever you can think of, whatever you cannot think of, and whatever you want to see, you can see in me. Everything is there. Ihaikastham Jagat Krishnam Pashyadya Sacharacharam. The whole universe, moving and unmovable objects, all together can be seen in one form, that is Vishwarupa. So Arjuna was shown the Vishwarupa, and through this 11th chapter, we are all being shown the Vishwarupa, and the Lord is all pervading. There is a wonderful poem in Telugu, Bhagavatam. Yavvaniche janinchu jagam lopala nundu లీనమై యవ్వని యందు డిందు పరమేశ్వరుడెవ్వడు మూల కారణం బెవ్వడనాది మధ్యలయుడెవ్వడు సర్వముదానయైన వాడెవ్వడు వాని నాత్మజునునే శరణంబు వేడద. So that power from which the whole universe gets created, sustained and dissolved. యవ్వనిచే జనించు జగమెవ్వని లోపల నుండు లీనమై యవ్వని యందుడిందు పరమేశ్వరుడెవ్వడు మూల కారణం బెవ్వడనాది, which is the original cause of this creation of universe. Anadi madhyalayudevvadu, that which has no beginning or middle or end. Sarvamudanayayina vadevvadu vaninatmajunune saranam. So that supreme being was being demonstrated in the Vishwarupa Sandarshana Yoga in the 11th chapter. And that supreme being, Lord Vishnu, Narayana, Krishna, has been asked by Arjuna how to perform the propitiation, pursue the Bhakti Marga. So in the 12th chapter, the Bhakti Yoga has been explained. I have already explained to you yesterday. And in 13 and 14, the Gunatrayas and various other aspects of the entire Vedic lore has been explained in the 15th chapter today, which is given at top position in the Bhagawadgita, along with or more than the 12th chapter. Today we will delve deep into the 15th chapter. Om Srimad Bhagawadgita Panchadashodhyayah Purushottama Prapti Yogaha Sri Bhagavan Vacha Urdhvamulamadhashakham Ashwadham Prahuravyayam Chandansi yasya varnani yastam Veda Savedavit Adhaschordhancha prasrutastasya shakha Gunapravruddha Vishaya Pravada Adhaschamulan Anusandadeni Karmanubandheni Manushya-loke Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate Nanto na chadin na cha sampratishtha Ashwadhamenam suvirodhamulam Asanga-shastrena drudhena chitva Tatah param tat parimargitavyam Yasmin stona nivartanti bhuyaha Yasmin gatona nivartanti bhuyaha Nirmana moha gata sangadosha Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama Dvandvair vimukta sukha dukha sangai Gachanti amudha padamavyayam tat. Now a story or allegory, a depiction of a tree, inverted people tree. Urdhvamulammadhashakam ashwadham prahuravyayam, infinite size, upside down people tree. Chandansi yasya parnani, which has millions of leaves, which are the Vedas, the knowledge of the entire universe. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Chandansi yasya parnani, and it has got the branches and the roots and the fruits. Yastam Veda Savedavit Adhaschodhancha prasudastasya shakha guna pravruddha vishaya pravada. The fruits are the objects of senses, vishayas. Adhaschodhancha prasudastasya shakha guna pravruddha, and the branches are the trigunas developed. Vishaya pravada adhascha mulanya nusantate karmanubandhini manushya-loke. So these branches and these fruits are connecting you to the root, the entire trunk. So this is this tree, and this is nothing but the samsara vriksham. So we are presented with the indomitable, undaunted samsara vriksham, which is made up of the gunas, vishayas, karma. So what to do now? It is in front of us. So you take one sword, asanga shastrena drudhena chitva. You cut it down with that sword, and that sword is nothing but detachment. Asanga shastrena drudhena chitva tatah param tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha. You clear the way, clear the path, and move forward. And having moved forward and reaching a destination, after reaching which you will never come back. And who will reach that destination? Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangai gachanti amudha padamam vyayam tat. Fools cannot go. Amudha, non-fools. That means wise people who are having all these qualities. Nirmana moha, mana and moha, abhimanam and moham not there. Jita sanga dosha, having conquered the attachment. Adhyatma nitya, those who are always in a spiritual state. Vinivritta kama, those who have no desires. Dvandvair vimukta, those who have been liberated from the opposites. Sukha dukkha sangai gachantyamudha padam avyayam tat. They will go on that path. Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yadgatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. There is no sun nor moon or anything there, and having reached that, that is my abode, Lord's abode, the Vaikuntham or Golokam or whatever the name you give, having reached it, you will not come back. That is moksha sthiti. Yadgatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivalo bhuta sanatana. Now having explained that spiritual path, the progress and the procedure of the spiritual path of this samsara vriksham, how to conquer the samsara vriksham, then he is coming back to the individual details about various aspects of this universe. First is Mamaivamsho Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manashasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. My own Amsha, my small part, one small spark of my light. Mamaivamsho Jivaloke, in this world of living beings, Jiva Bhutaha, the life principle, Sanatanaha, eternal. Manashasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. It gets connected with Manas and the 6 Indriyas, including Manas 5 plus 5 senses. Manashasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani, who are there, which are there in the Prakriti. We have seen Prakriti and Purusha are 2 entities. So these sensory principles, Tanmatras and the Manas, which are there in the Prakriti, they are connected to this Jiva, Jivatma, who is the, in principle, the very same spark of the huge light of the Parabrahman. Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Manashasthani Indriyani, Prakritisthani Karshati, Shariram Yada Avapnoti, Yachapyutkrayamati Ishvaraha, Grihitva Etani Samyati, Vayurgamnani Vashita. It first acquires this, the 5 senses and mind, and enters into the womb of the pregnant female. And having entered, it takes birth and lives a long life, and finally it departs. Shariram yada vapnoti yacha apyutkrayamati Ishvaraha. The Jiva is nothing but Ishvaraha, but Amsha, not complete. Gruhitva etani, it will carry these senses and the mind and the vasanas, the karma vasanas in the mind. And again the story starts after Swargam Narakam. Mamaivaamsho jiva loke jiva bhutas sanatana manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati shariram yada vapnoti yacha apyutkrayamati Ishvaraha गृहीत्वेतानि सम्याति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं चरसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः. So this principle Jivatma, it comes and goes and gets connected with the senses and the mind from life to life, and fools cannot see it. Vimudha nanupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. Those who have the eyes of jnana, they alone can see this fact. Vimudhananupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha yatanto yoginascheva पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैवां पश्यन्त्यचेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयते अखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्. The energy which is radiant in the Surya, in the sun, in the moon, and in the Agni also, all this energy is my own principle. यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयते अखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्. गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधीः सर्वा सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः. I become the moon and propitiate and grow the medicinal herbs in the nights. Gamavishya cha bhutani dharayamyaham ojasa. I am holding up this whole universe with ojas shakti and propitiating, developing the medicinal herbs. Somo bhutva rasatmakaha oshadhinsha. Gamavishya cha bhutani dharayamyaham ojasa pushnami cha oshadhim sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha. Aham Vaishvanaro bhutva praninam dehamashritah pranapana samayuktah pachamyannam chaturvidham. I become the Agni, Jatharagni in all the living beings. Aham Vaishvanaro bhutva praninam dehamashritah pranapana samayuktah pachamyannam chaturvidham. I am making the prana and apana as equal, and I am digesting, assimilating the food consumed in 4 ways. Rasa, Virya, Vipaka. So, Gama Vishya cha bhutani dharayamyaham pushnami chaushadhi sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaham vaishvanaro bhutva प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापान समायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैः अहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृत् वेदविदेव चाहम्. I am living in all the human beings, all the living beings in their heart. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Because of me, there is memory faculty and ability to know jnanam, apohanam, that is the thesis and antithesis, hypothesis and antithesis, the scientific methodology. The entire thing is because of me, because I live in the heart of all people, all beings. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam apohanancha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. I am the creator of Vedanta jnana and I am the one who is known in the Veda. Veda videva chaham. Davimau purusho loke ksharaschaksara eva cha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutastho akshara uchyate uttamah purushastvanyah paramatmeti tyudahritah yo lokatrayamavishya vibhatravyayah ishwarah. There are two things, the kshara and akshara. And the one which is akshara is Uttamah Purushastvanyah Paramatmeti Tyudahritah Yo Lokatrayamavritya Bhibhartravyayah Ishwarah Yasmat Ksharavaditoham Aksharadapi Chottamah Atosmi Loke Vedecha Prathitah Purushottamah. I am beyond the Kshara and Akshara. I am the Purushottama, the Supreme Being, who is explained in the universe, in normal world, as well as in the Vedic lore. Vede, Loke Vedecha, Prathitaha, Purushottamaha. This is the Purushottama Prapti Yogaha, Panchadashodhyayaha. So it's a most wonderful, short and fast depiction, presentation of the entire knowledge of the Supreme Being, the Purushottama. This is the 15th chapter. So in the 16th chapter, he has given the list of good qualities and bad qualities. Abhayam, Sattva Samshuddhihi, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi, Dhanam, Damascha, Yajnascha, Swadhyaya, Stapa, Arjavam, Ahimsa, Satyam, Akrodha, Tyaga, Kshanti, Rapaishunam, Daya Bhuteshvalolupam, Martavam, Priracha Param, Teja Kshama, Dhriti Shaucham, Adroho, Nabhimanita. These are the Daivi Sampat and Dambho, Darpo, Abhimanascha, Krodha, Paurushamevacha, Ajnanam cha Abhijatasya Partha Sampadam Asurim. He has explained how the Asuri Pravritti will prevail and how people are doing things which they are doing today. He has explained what all is happening today also in the 16th chapter. Asha Pasha Shatayar Bandhaha. People have hundreds of desires. Kama Krodha Parayana, Ihante, Kama Bhogardham, Anyayena Artha Sanchita. Black money is also described here in the 16th chapter. Anyayena Artha Sanchita. To this illegally accumulating money. So the Asuri Pravritti, which you can see rampantly today in the Kali Yuga, where only 25% of Dharma prevails. And then in the 17th chapter, finally in the 18th chapter, he goes to explain the entire Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, the complete process of Sannyasa, Moksha Jnana and Moksha Sannyasa. And there finally he declared the supreme statement, the supreme promise. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Earlier in the 9th chapter also he explained ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paribhasade tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. If you give up everything else and dedicate yourself, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja, surrender to the Lord. Prapatti, bhakti followed by prapatti, then Lord will take over. He will take care of you. Yogakshemam vahamyaham. And I have seen this happening in my life in extreme situations. And Gajendra Moksham Katha is also the same thing. When everything is given up, then the Lord will come into the play. And once the Lord takes over, you will be protected, the universe will be protected. And finally, at the end of all the 18 chapters, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, I have told you everything possible, the entire Vedic knowledge. Now you decide what you want to do. So then finally Arjuna says, Nashto mohaha smritir labdha. I have now come out of my delusion. I now recall my original duty, and I shall execute Kurushve Vachanam Tava. I shall execute your orders, O Krishna. That is how the war began after the 18th chapter. I have been to that place. I have got spiritual experience in that spot where Bhagawadgita was delivered. Vishwarupa was shown, and the supreme wisdom was delivered for the sake of the whole humanity. Lokatrayopakaraya Krishnaya Namaha. He has delivered this wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita through Arjuna to the whole world. Therefore, Krishna is the Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. So I stop here and I'll open up for interactions.
Thank you. Dhanyavadaha, Prabhu Garu. Now let us, interact with Prabhu Garu. We have enough time now. You can take your, time, no problem. Ask any question where you have a doubt. In the chat so far, in between that is, no questions are there.
Ramani Mogan Tigara has raised her hand, please.
Yeah.
Namaste, Guru.
Namaste.
So I have one question. When you said, like, if you give the Sharanagati, if you commit like yourself, there is nothing else other than Lord. So he will help us. He will give us some solution. But at the same time, a person has to go through so many sufferings, even though he is so dedicated. Then we find like there is a karma siddhanta. You have done your previous karma, previous birth karma. Then you have to go through that, whatever that sufferings you have. So I feel like there is a contradictory between Sharanagati and going through all the suffering.
No, you tell me. You are a very knowledgeable person. You tell me what else is alternate. You, in your own question, you gave the answer, because the karma siddhanta will result in the sufferings. Yes, correct. You said that. So now, what is the alternative? You tell. You go on suffering. There is no alternative except this. So Saranagati, like the Gajendra Moksham, if you study once again, you will understand what I mean, what I was explaining. Lavokintayaledu, Dhairyam Vilodambai, Panamul Tavul Dappe, Murchavachan. So it's collapsing, and yet we don't know what to do. We are suffering so many problems, and we are collapsing. We are going to die any second. Ivedapaitam param venuganam. So what is the alternative? There is no alternative. Is there any better alternative? So the only alternative is to surrender. So when you surrender and get absorbed, the Lord will take over. Provided you really do it, not fake, not bogus, and not half-cooked. And that is not easy, by the way. And that will happen only in the last stage of Bhakti Prapatti. Most of the people, 99.99% of the people, are fake Bhakti people. If you go to Tirupati queue and ask anybody there in the queue, I've asked many times, why did you come here? They will give a material cause.
Reason.
They want job. They want this. They are not interested in the Lord. They are not doing Saranagati, Prapatti, nothing of that kind. 99.999% of the people cannot do this. You understand what I'm saying? Now I'll tell you my own personal life example. When I was 14 years, my father died and his dead body is in front of me. And my mother is almost unconscious. And nobody is there. And I don't have a single paisa with me. What should I do? Tell me. I didn't go on the street and beg. But then the miracles started happening. People started coming on their own and they have done everything. So I have seen the Leela of the Lord. When you surrender completely, when you have the total wisdom, when you have the total Prabhu, otherwise it is not going to happen. Next question.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wants to say anything? Yeah, Gupta ji. Please unmute yourself, Gupta ji.
Namaskar Mahoday. Gajendra Moksham. Name says Gajendra wants a moksham. But actually what Gajendra wanted is a relief from the death. How do you take care of these two contradictions?
No. That is your own imagination. It's not like that. The word moksha means liberation, freedom. So it is freedom from pain, freedom from that Gajendra was going through tremendous pain, excruciating pain, and not even getting death. And so he's not aiming at death or aiming at life. It is aiming at moksha, freedom from the suffering. So that is what moksha is all about. Because death and birth will be there, but freedom is the different thing. So moksha, actually, if you go to the Genesis, that Indrajumna Maharaja, all that, who is that Gajendra, who is that crocodile, there is a Purajanma Sambandham. So that is why that event happened. But it's not an ordinary elephant. If you think like that, all elephants are so great and the Lord will come and save them. It's not like that. There is a background to it, the Purvajanma connection. So he reached an extreme level of bhakti and prapatti, and therefore he reached moksha after the Lord came and liberated by killing that crocodile. There is again a Purvajanma connection with the crocodile also. So it is not that simple. It is very beautifully brought out by Potana. It is not there in it is not so much there in the Vyasa Bhagavatam. In the Andhra Mahabhagavatam only it is brought out, the importance of prapatti and bhakti. So prapatti is the supreme stage of bhakti. That's what you have to understand. You understand bhakti is the best way to get the attention of the Lord. And it depends on the intensity of the bhakti and prapatti, how you get the result and response. Next question.
Okay. Vanilla ji.
Namaskar, Guruji. As Ramani and Gupta sir has asked, even I have a similar question. You said Anyada Saranam Nasti Tvamev Saranam Mama. To tell that, is it till the time our karma doesn't get paripakvata, you will not be able to tell that? Because they say Buddhi Karma Anusarini. So even Gajendra has suffered so long, though he wanted, maybe his past karma didn't allow him to say that ki Anyada Saranam Nasti. Is it so? So that ki our Buddhi also will act?
No, that's correct. It is what you said is correct. Until and unless the paripaka, karma paripakam comes, the final stage, you will not be able to go to that level. Simply telling, if I just told, or simply one sloka is there, Ananyas, it doesn't happen like that. So now, as I told you, 99.999% of the people who go to Tirupati or who perform various pujas, they don't have sincerity or bhakti or prapatti of any kind. They are materialist. They are grossly engrossed in the samsara chakram, samsara bandham. And they are trying to take the help of the Lord to overcome their materialistic desire problems and acquiring their desires fulfilled. Of course, that is also not prohibited, but that is the lowest level. So the arto jijnasuradhadhi jnani cha bharatarshapa. So the moksha will come through jnana, which is the highest stage in bhakti itself. So the moksha jnanam will come. That's why the 18th chapter is last chapter, moksha karma sannyasa yoga. So how you reach the level of moksha. So it is a continuous process of evolution. So you are very correct when they say the karma will not allow you, because it depends on where you are standing in the evolutionary path. It is a huge process. So until and unless you reach that level, you will not get that stage. And when you get that stage, then automatically things will start happening. And I have seen in my life, not only once, but many times, this kind of miracles started happening. And today I am able to sit in front of you and deliver. This itself will not happen unless there is a tremendous amount of background punya karma. That's why we always insist, perform punya karma and maintain sattva guna. So your whole effort will be to maintain punya karma. Of course, papa karma, if you perform, then you have to pay the price. Papa karma, you see, we have done so many papa karmas in the past. That's why we are born. Otherwise, we will not be born at all. So karma mura puttu jantu, karma muna jachu. So you are born out of karma, you will die out of karma, but in the process, if you perform punya karma to the maximum extent, then you will become one of the bhaktas. There are various levels of bhaktas also. Bhaktas, mahabhaktas, Mahabhakta Vijayam, one big book is there. All mahabhaktas are explained. So it is where you stand, how much you have evolved towards the supreme. Okay. Right.
Thank you very much.
Next.
Jayanti ji. Ravina.
Namaskaram, Prabhu garu. I want to share one experience from my life, Andi. There was this Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva annadi na chinnapati nunchi vintune unnanandi. Kani ma naన్నగారు పోయిన తర్వాత ఫస్ట్ టైం అది పూజలో కూర్చున్నప్పుడు స్వామివారిని చూసినప్పుడు అప్పటి వరకు I never saw him as a father, you know. There was no such feeling. But the place where you are within yourself and the intensity with which you are listening to that at that point of time, when it comes to a certain intimacy with the ultimate, it also depends on not ritualistically వింటం అంటే I know the difference between నేను 100 సార్లు అది అప్పుడు విన్నదానికి ఆ పర్టిక్యులర్ మూమెంట్ లో సడన్లీ సంథింగ్ హిట్ వెరీ హార్డ్. ఆ పిత అన్న మాట అనేటప్పుడు జగతో పితరో అన్న అప్పటి వరకు లేనిది అప్పుడు హిట్ అయింది అనమాట. సో సమ్ టైమ్స్ దీస్ వర్డ్స్ మే మీన్ మియర్ వర్డ్స్ unless that something within you blossoms in a different way. Definitely can relate to your experience as well, and just wanted to share that in my own life I have seen before and after aspect.
Very true, very true, very true, very true, very good.
Venkateswarlu garu.
Namaste Acharya. My question is, I am the karma, I am the responsible for karma. Karma pala data nenu ani Bhagawadgita Sri Krishna said. That means I am the giver of the results, and the karma you have to do it. See, if that is the case, for punya karma I am responsible, and papa karma also I am responsible. So what is the role of the God in giving? Because that everything is triggered from me.
No, it is not like that. That is a misinterpretation. See, like in the case of Gajendra, if you apply your principle to Gajendra Moksha, he could have just suffered and died, but he didn't do it. He prayed extreme bhakti and prapatti, and he got the result. That is the point here. So karma we have to suffer, no doubt. I have also suffered tremendous problems. So when you suffer those problems, if you don't have bhakti or jnana or any prapatti or Saranagati, all these things, if you are just average, normal, then you'll suffer tremendously, because the suffering cannot be overcome. So what I'm trying to tell is, it is like, when the person is suffering anyway, but if he has bhakti and prapatti, he will transcend. His emotional attachment with the suffering will not be there. It will be transcended. Understand what I'm saying? So we have to suffer. We are suffering. Right now we are suffering. But when you are absorbed in a higher level, then you are getting detached, disconnected from your suffering, and getting into the divine level. And when you get the divine grace, Ishvara Anugraha, which is not an easy thing, then you are getting moksha. So through karma, you'll never get moksha. Even if you perform 100 good karmas, it doesn't mean you'll get moksha. You'll get only good results, pleasant. The result of punya karma is sukham, and the result of papa karma is dukkham. You'll go on getting these results, but you don't get moksha. You don't get ananda. You don't get the avesha of bhakti. So mayaveshya manoyemam nityayukta upasate Shraddhaya parayopeta steme yuktatama mata mayeva manadhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi mayeva ata urdhvam na samshaya. You live in me, which is the highest level. I'll take you to my own level, he says. If you absorb yourself in me, your mind and your intellect and all you are excited, emotionally, excitedly absorbed in me, you will live in me. So it's your choice. You want to live in the divine level, or you want to live in the mundane level of the karma samsara. Okay, that's it. Next question.
Okay. Ramaniji, you want to ask a question?
నమస్తే గురువు గారు, సారీ, నాకు చాలా క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉన్నాయి, కానీ చాలా మంది అడుగుతున్నారు కాబట్టి ఒకటి ఇప్పుడు మీరేమన్నారంటే, when you do karma you don't attain moksha. So where did we get this concept of pativrata, like serving the husband and attain moksha? Like how does, because in the Bhagawadgita I haven't seen any gender defining about like ladies should do this, because it's always said as jiva. And so how did we get this concept of serving like being a pativrata, like serving the husband?
Not only woman serving as pativrata, but even a father serving a son serving the father, for example, or a child serving the mother and father. Matru devo bhava, pitru devo bhava. The same logic continues in pativrata concept. It is not to be interpreted in that way, as you are doing. That is wrong. So, you see, for a child, baby or small child or small boy or small girl, what that person, that girl or boy can understand about Bhagawadgita or prapatti or bhakti, you can only see mother and father, nothing else. So, mother, matru devo bhava, pitru devo. First mother brought to life, so matru devo bhava. Pitru devo bhava, acharya devo bhava. Then when acharya gives the instructions of enlightenment of Bhagavad-gita or Upanishads, etc., then only you think you can realize the Supreme Lord who is appearing in all these forms. So in the same way, for a girl who got married to the husband, to have complete dedication, the brahmacharyam, grihastha brahmacharyam is complete dedication to the spouse. Don't interpret in a different way as you have been doing. So it is just like a child for mother and father. Similarly, a relationship of husband and wife is so unique and so exclusive. So what is the opposite of pativrata? Opposite of pativrata is a Vaishya. So definitely that will not be acceptable, right? So that's what, not only pativrata, but even patnivrata is also there. The man also has to be equally dedicated. That is brahmacharya, grihastha brahmacharya. So that is understood correct. So now we are talking of a different level of dedication to the Lord, which is for both Pati and Patni, which is meant for moksha, not for ordinary life. All the other things are for ordinary life. Okay, next.
Okay, Praveena ji, you want to ask again?
అవునండి. నేను అంటే ఇన్ ద ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ చాలా మందికి కూడా హెల్ప్ అవుతుందేమో. చిన్నప్పుడు నాకున్న క్వెషన్ ఐ గాట్ ఆన్సర్డ్ విత్ ఎ సర్టెన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. నా క్వెషన్ ఏముండిందంటే యాజ్ ఎ టీనేజర్, కర్మ ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎనీవే డిఫైన్డ్, why should I do what? Ante if it is predefined, if my fate is already there, or if I am destined for something, then what's the purpose of say devotion or doing action in a certain way? Appudu ma amma okati chepparanడి, that if you are destined to go on a thorny path, mullu unna darlo, if you are destined to go, if you have devotion, you will have a good footwear to go. You will still go through the thorny path, but it will not prick you much. And if you are destined to have something like a pulla majjiga, very sour buttermilk, then you'll be given water. You will still go through, consume that buttermilk, but you will not suffer the intensity of the sourness. So that actually appeased me. And after that, I never had any questions of why should I do this or why should I do that. I thought I will share that with the group as well.
No, that is true. What you said is true, but I would add something beyond that also. So what she told you is just a kind of a basic thing. But beyond that, if you have supreme devotion or supreme bhakti, prapatti, then you will go beyond that. You will be in extreme blessedness, extreme happiness, and you can achieve much bigger things in life than just overcoming the problem on hand. So when you have the, in fact, I would put it this way, in my own life, I have gone through extreme difficulties, but because of my, absorption of the principles of Bhagawadgita and yoga and so on, I was not only able to withstand and fight it over and successfully transcend, but I have achieved much, much better things than just overcoming the immediate problem. So when the Lord, I'll give you another example of a person whom I know very well. He's presently a professor in Australia. I don't want to tell his name. So he is from a village background where there was nothing. I went to a village. It was a mud house and a mud school. And he was educated there. And today he is world's #1 in that particular domain. And I was shocked to see this. And I told him, you are not the first. Kalidasa was also there. You are the second. So Kalidasa became what he became by the anugraham of Devi Upasana, which he did. And this man, I was surprised how he became like this. Then later I realized, because when I went and lived, of course, I taught him yoga also. I am his guru. Then I went to his place. He invited me there and I stayed there for a few. Then I realized how much he is absorbed in the Lord, in the bhakti. He is so absorbed, even in the office, even in the house. In the house, his wife was ill-treating him. I saw with my own eyes, but he was not affected. And in the office, he's a big man, globally #1 in that particular subject. And today, he is a great speaker and propagator of bhakti. And he delivers lectures and all that throughout the globe, apart from his own subject. And he is coming from not a high family background, such a poor and backward family background. And still he reached that stage. So what I'm saying is, if you have the inkling or the wavelength matching with the spiritual supreme being, then you can go higher and higher. in your material life also, and then you will be able to reach spiritual, and then you will be able to share your wisdom, spiritual knowledge with others also. Like what I am doing today. Okay, that's it. Next.
Dhanyavad.
Okay. Mahalakshmi, Darvasala garu.
Hello. Yeah. Namaste,
Yes.
Prabhu. I have a question, like, this is a very famous and everyone say karmanya vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So there, whatever is there, you have to do the karma. You should not stop doing it also. You have to do it is what. But how do we, like, not attached to the result? So any activity we do, we expect some goal. So what is the difference between the goal and the result? Or how, or elaborate
Not
more on
result.
this?
Attachment to the result. You're again, you finish your question? Shall I answer?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you have not understood clearly the principle of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is not talking, many people have asked me the same question. The corporate goals will be there, project management goals will be there. So you mean to say you give up? It's not like that. It is about giving up the obsession of the consequences at the end. See, I'll give you a better example. You have seen our children studying for IIT and all that. So they go to some institute and they struggle day in and day out, morning and night, whole day, whole night. They'll be struggling. And finally, they won't get IIT. Because nowadays, of course, more IITs have come. But previously, very few IITs were there and very few people will get. Only some 1,500 people are getting IIT seats, whereas about 5 lakh people are preparing for IIT. Am I right, Siddha? So when they are doing that, then all the remaining people, 5 lakh minus 1,500, they will not get IIT. So, and do you know that most of them get depressed? They enter into depressed states. Some of them commit suicides. Some of them take drugs. And some of them take psychiatric treatment. I've seen actually happen. You know all this, right? So that is the obsession. That is what the Karma Yoga is addressing. What Karma Yoga tells is you do your duty perfectly. That is skill in action. In fact, quality is also mentioned. Yoga karma so kaushalam. You shall do with all perfection and skill. Kaushalam. But at the same time, don't get obsessed with what will happen at the end. Because what happens at the end is not in your hands. You see, a person who is preparing for IIT, it is not in his hands whether he will get seat or not. So he will go on preparing. So whether the seat will come or not is not in his hand. But he has done his duty perfectly. Even if the seat doesn't come, or say similarly with IAS also, it doesn't matter. Because whatever efforts you have put will get fructified in another manner. You cannot IIT, you may get NIT, or you may get AAA, or you may do something else, or finally you may do PhD, or whatever it is. So whatever efforts you have put, karma, the results of that karma will come to you, whether or not what has happened is according to your wish or not, because it's not in your hands. There's so many other factors. Even Abraham Lincoln gave this statement, I do my duty to the end, and then I leave it. What will happen? Because so many other factors will play. So if you are obsessed with the final outcome so strongly emotionally, that you may get depressed, you may commit suicide, or you may give up all interest, you may lose interest, all those things will happen. So that's why the maturity is what is being told. You should have the maturity to know, okay, if I don't get the result in the way I wanted, doesn't matter, I will get something else. I have done my duty. The result of my efforts will definitely come back. That maturity is called karma. Okay? Then, by next.
Okay. See, we say that if you have a problem in life, any problem, so Gita is the answer. You will find an answer in Gita. So can we justify that and also explain with a few examples, like somebody is saying, I'm not getting sleep, I'm getting depression, I want to commit suicide. Such things, if they consult Gita or a Gita expert, will it help?
Definitely. That is for sure. because all such problems are addressed in the Gita, and the solution is also given. That's why he told Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Vraja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma. I will liberate you from all your problems. So how it works is like this. Now, most of the problems, for example, somebody wants to commit suicide or somebody wants to do something totally wrong. So there must be some reason for it. The reason could be physical, psychological, mental, or relationship issues, or so many reasons possible. So in all those different reasons, there is a fault. There is a wrong interpretation. Right now, in so many questions I'm getting, people are interpreting sometimes slightly wrongly. So even in the spiritual matters, people are interpreting wrongly. What to speak of ordinary life matters? People interpret wrongly, take wrong conclusions, draw wrong conclusions, take wrong decisions, and take wrong steps. So the correct maturity, wisdom, and the correct in-depth understanding, analysis of the problem and finding its solution is possible if you understand the principles given in Bhagavad Gita. That's why there are 18 chapters addressing 18 different topics. And no topic left out actually in the emotional plane or in the life processes in the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, there is a famous saying that Vyasochistam Jagat Sarva. The whole universe, the whole world is the Jhuta, Uchishtam of Vyasa. So there is nothing he has left out. So Mahabharata is said to be a text where everything that happens in the world is already addressed there. And if there is anything in this world which is existing, it is already there in Mahabharata. And if it is not there in Mahabharata, it is not there in the outside world. This is the famous statement made about Mahabharata. Vyasochistam Jagat Sarvam. And Bhagavad Gita is the heart of Mahabharata. It is addressing the most sensitive issues. And if Bhagavad Gita is removed, there is no Mahabharata. It is in the heart of Mahabharata, and because of Bhagavad Gita only the war took place, and that is how Dharma was triumphant. It replaced Adharma. Otherwise, Adharma would have continued. So today we would have not been like this sitting and talking. Things would have been much worse if at all we survived. So the Bhagavad Gita had a kind of a epochal impact, and because it is a summary of the wisdom of the entire Vedas and Upanishads and Shastras. That's why Eko Shastro Devaki Putra Gita. So one Shastra, Eko Mantro Devaki Putra Nama. If you even chant the name of the Lord, like for example, simply this simple process of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If you simply chant this, keep on chanting, your problem will be solved. And of course, if you understand Bhagavad Gita and contemplate what is told there, automatically your problem is already solved, because you have already reached higher level of emotional being. Actually, all problems originate due to foolishness and emotional collapse. People forget about what they are and what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, and they get into emotional breakdown, emotional collapse, and they'll be committing crimes against others, against humanity, against themselves, finally, when they want to contemplate suicide. When they understand even 1,000th of the spiritual principles given in Bhagavad Gita, they will not do those things. So when you read Bhagavad Gita, even in a time of crisis, you are able to come out of that crisis because you are getting injected with the wisdom in the Bhagavad Gita. The sense will start prevailing in your brain, and your thinking will change, your attitude, your approach will change, and you will come out of the crisis.
Okay, yeah, thank you, sir. Now, the further to this is, now the person is suffering, and you tell him, okay, Bhagavad Gita is the answer, you chant this sloka or go further. So how he gets convinced and starts doing it, or somebody is sitting with him and start doing this and ask him to follow, or what is the way out for this?
Yes. if a person is not in a condition to do all this on his own or her own, then a person sitting with them will be essential. That's why our people tell you keep on chanting the name. Namasmarana Anyopai Nai Nai Rakshati. Okay? There is no other solution except chanting the name. So even upon death, if somebody dies while chanting the name, he'll get liberated. He'll go to Vaikuntham. And that is Ajamila Upakhyanam. We have that statement where that fellow Ajamila was a big sinner and he was going to go to hell. And he kept one of his son's name as Narayana, so that when he dies, he will call that name without knowing Narayana, but at least that name he will chant. So, Cheskunavar, Cheskunanta Mahadev, how much you perform Punya Karma, accordingly you will get the result. If you understand Bhagavad Gita and if you are living your life according to Bhagavad Gita principles, then automatically you are going to get liberated, because it is also said in Gita Mahatyam that one sloka, ekam sloka, one day, one meaning of one day, one sloka or 1/4 also will liberate you. But if you are not able to do it, even that also is mentioned in the Gita. Srutva anyebhyaha, you will listen from others. Maybe parent or brother or sister or whosoever it is, father, husband or son or whosoever it is, who can elevate that person spiritually, even for that 1 second or few minutes, then that person will be, in fact, even those who are in coma, if you go and tell in the ear, the mantras, chant the mantras, we have done an experiment also, or through music also, that person will be improved, he'll gradually improve and he will get benefited. So, therefore, that is why we teach our people right from childhood, Bhagavad Gita and other things, so that something will sink in. What you have to understand is that the given candidate, the patient or child or full or whoever it is in a very, 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 very low stage. So what we are talking in Bhagavad Gita, what I gave lecture, is a very, very, very high stage. So there is a long distance between the two ends. So somewhere somebody has to take forward. So how much you take forward, that the entire thing is spiritual process. So that is why we keep on saying, you keep chanting all the time. Na manasmara yudhyacha. He told you, keep remembering me and fight the war. Because we are fighting the war in our life every day. So when you are doing that, you will be attached to the Lord and you will be peaceful. That is the main purpose and that is the process and that is the solution.
Thank you, sir. So this leads me to another question, or in fact, clarification that Bhagavad Gita should be part of syllabus right from the beginning. Nursery. I mean, if not nursery, class 1, 2, 3, so that in fact, 100% problems are not. If not 100%, at least 99 problems are solved automatically. Only physical problems may be, requiring a doctor. Am I right in saying that?
Absolutely. That's why we teach our children Bhagavad Gita. No, I was taught Bhagavad Gita complete 100% by the age of 8. Of course, it doesn't mean I understood everything. So it took long time to understand one by one, so many topics. So the earlier you teach, the better it is, the more intensively you penetrate those concepts, the understanding should penetrate inside. Chanting is one aspect. Because now I'm able to, today I chanted chapters together. I didn't see any book. I don't have any book here. I don't need any book. Because I learned it by heart when I was 8 years old. So that way, whole life it will have an impact. Of course, the meaning also has to be understood. But if you understand Sanskrit, only then you can understand meaning. So Sanskrit also has to be taught. So Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit and yoga. 3 things if they are taught, then the life will be assured. That these 3 things have brought me to what I am today. I have achieved the highest possible position in the country in my career. And I'm also able to share my knowledge with others today, thanks to your channel. So all these things are because of the 3 things in my childhood. Bhagawadgita, Sanskrit, and yoga.
Thank you, sir. These three things should be, part of life skills in all educational institutions. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, let's have Gupta ji again. You want to ask a question?
Namaskar Mahoday. Earlier also I requested for helping me to understand the meaning of Atithi Devo Bhava. You mentioned that at some other time you will help me to understand.
Atithi Deva, no, see, today I have explained why Matru Deva Bhava. You understood why. That is, you accept why Matru Deva Bhava and why Pitru Deva Bhava, why Acharya Deva Bhava, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. I understood all these three, but still I have a doubt about Atithi Deva Bhava.
Yeah, I understand that. So now, next to these three, Atithi is given. What does the word Atithi mean? Do you know the breakup etymology? Atithi. Means no, opposite. Tithi means date. No date. That means the fellow will come suddenly. You understand? He never gave you a date, then he will come to you. A person who comes to you with a date is called Abhyagati. So that is separate. This Atithi, with no date, he will suddenly come. So now that means he is a stranger. He is suddenly coming to you with some purpose or some reason. So when that happens, how do you want to treat him? You want to tell him, get out, who are you, don't come, like that? Is it noble to do that? Or you welcome him, you give him all the things which he wants and what he doesn't want also you offer. So which is better, you tell me. Therefore, Atithi Deva Bhava.
Okay.
But why there is nothing, there is something like Abhyagati Deva Bhava.
No, that is also there. In fact, it is even higher. Abhyagati Swayam Vishnu. Abhyagati should be treated like Vishnu himself. Okay. There is a separate statement. Abhyagati Swayam Vishnu. Okay, whatever we don't know, it doesn't mean it's not there. Okay? You have to find out what is there more and more.
Yes, sir.
Because if you treat your Atithis and Abhyagatis like gods, then you know what will happen, right? Your relationships are improving. They will reciprocate, right? So your standing in the society or your credit will go up, will shoot up. If you follow Atithi Deva Bhava and Abhyagati Swayam Vishnu, then your credit is shooting up. You are going to get only benefits and nothing else. Okay?
Yeah. Actually, that is, the hospitality you show towards the people whom you invited, that is what it is.
No, in fact, when some foreigners come, let us say, supposing I have seen in my own life, when foreigners come to our office or to our house, the way we treat them, it can even get you a benefit of their inviting you to their place and they're treating you like that or better than that. So some people have come from Germany and learned yoga from me here, and later they invited me to Germany, and I conducted a yoga camp there, and then I was taken to other countries also, Switzerland and so on. So many things happen. You see, one seed will blossom into a big tree. So whatever you do, the seed which you put in all these activities will bring you huge results.
Okay. Varaprasad.
Namaste, Guruji.
Yeah.
Thanks for another excellent session, sir. It was thoroughly absorbing, and your Purushottama Prapti Yoga, I enjoyed it a lot, having recited it many times. And then, as you said, sir, I am experiencing it. You said that when you keep reciting, hearing Bhagavad Gita, there will be a change. I have been into this for the past 5 years, and I am feeling the happiness inside. Every time I do it, I am so happy. And in this context, I also like to say that after serving for 30 years in Hyderabad, I was posted at a place which I was not interested to. I did my best to change it, but then it didn't happen. But that's where the the seeds of Bhagawadgita were sown when I went to a temple where they were reciting, and slowly it started. And now I never thought I would read Bhagawadgita all my life. At once, if I read ఒకసారి చదివితే చాలేమో అనుకున్నాను. ఏ ముహూర్తాన్ని నేను అక్కడికి వెళ్ళానో కానీ నేను ఇప్పుడు 700 శ్లోకాలు 3 గంటల్లో చదివే స్థాయికి వచ్చానండి. అండ్ మీ సెషన్స్ చాలా ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ గా ఉంటున్నాయి. I hope this continues. And as you said, I am feeling that. అందుకే I appeal to all members. మీరు ఇంకేమీ చేసినా చేయకపోయినా భగవద్గీత చదవండి, వినండి. ప్రభుజీ గారి వాళ్ళ శ్లోకాలు రిసైట్ చేశారు, అలా ఆయన చేసి మళ్ళీ రికార్డింగ్ వినండి. You will get that inspiration. Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring all of us. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think Mahalakshmi ji is asking again, or before her we will take Prakash. Is the first time.
Sir, namaste Prabhu sir. Sir, everybody knows the importance of Bhagavad Gita and everybody knows the value of Bhagavad Gita. But why our universities are not taking into consideration? Because other foreign institutes, their universities, they are making it a curriculum in the syllabus or syllabi. Why we are not doing that when it is, originated in India? That is where I am feeling very bad.
I agree. I'm on your same page. I'm asking the same question. Just now, Babu has also asked same question. So now some people are trying to do Bhagavad Gita has to be there right from childhood.
Yeah, yes, sir.
That's why many parents teach Bhagavad Gita to their small children. My mother also taught me a small child. So they have to develop the personality based on Bhagavad Gita. It is not
Thank
just
you,
one subject study.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Sita.
Okay, Mahalakshmi ji.
Yeah, sorry. Earlier question also I couldn't unmute afterwards. So, yeah, that clears. I want to know what the Gita has told about the Sthita Pragnata. Because chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, in fact, covers everything, then elaborates in each other chapter. But in the essence, it gives each sloka is like indication to one chapter. So in Sankhya Yoga, they say Sukheshwa, how you have to be
Sukhesh Anudvignamana Sukhesh Vigata Spruha.
Yeah.
Pitaraga Bhayakrodha Sthitadhir Muni Richati.
Yes. So can you elaborate and say how can we control the emotions? Like we know what has to be done. How is the path to it? How can we be
good question. I didn't have adequate time to cover the second chapter. That's why I didn't cover. Now I'll cover in a minute or two. So first he told, before Sthita Prajna question was asked by Arjuna, he asked a question, same question which you asked, how Sthita Prajna behaves. So before that, who is Sthita Prajna? That is the definition also Lord gave. Shruti Vipratipannate yada sthasriti nischala samadho achala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. Having heard so many lectures or so many things studied, etc., your mind must be confused. Shruti Vipratipannate yada sthasyati nischala. And when it comes out of that confusion, after reaching the level of conclusive understanding, then it becomes stable. Shruti Vipratipannate yada sthasyati nischala samadho, in a deep state of meditation, achala, unwavering mind, buddhi, tada, at that time you will reach the yoga. So that state is called Sthita Prajna Yoga, Sthiti. So then Arjuna asks how such a person behaves. If there is such a person who has reached that stage, Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya kesava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. So the answer is Rajahati yada kaman sarvan pardha manogatan atmanyeva atmana tushtha sthita prajnastadochyate. So he has no desires because he is so advanced, mature. He has no desires and he acts in the life in a sthita prajna, most mature manner. Sukhesh Anudvignamana Sukhesh Vigata Spruha. He is not affected by miseries coming in and he is not getting elated with comforts, sukhas coming in. Sukhesh Anudvignamana Sukhesh Vigata Spruha. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. He has no attachment, he has no fears, he has no desires, and he has no anger. Sthitadhi Muniruchyate. He will be in a very strong, mature position like Krishna, Rama, or Buddha. So this is a maturity level of high order maturity. We can write some kind of a hierarchy levels of maturity. So that's Sthita Prajna is the highest maturity level, something like self-actualization level in the Maslow's need hierarchy. And same Sthita Prajna is equivalent to yogi, equivalent to Mahabhakta, and equivalent to Gunatita. It is all brought out in the Bhagavad Gita. That is the highest achieved of maturity levels, brought out in different dimensions in different chapters. But it is the same thing.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for a lot of time you have given to us for interaction. So just talking about Bhagavad Gita, you can get this knowledge, from many places, but interaction, one-to-one interaction will clarify the doubts in the minds of our students. And so far, we thank you for covering the subjects on Upanishad, Introduction to Sanatana Dharma, Upanishads, Darshanams, Vimana Shastra, and now Bhagavad Gita. And I think we'll look forward for another session with you and also continuous interaction on research topics, on various topics which people have prepared. That will be in the next month. We will make the groups, those who have prepared for these research topics, and from in the groups itself you will get the guidance. Now I think we have finished with the chapter, with this webinar. Now we will have prarthana, then Janaganamana.
Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha O Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samastas Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Deshoyam Shobharahitah Brahmanas Santu Nirbhayaah Aputrah Putrinas Santu Pautrinah Adhanas Sadanas Santu Jivantu Sharadan Shatam Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Prutyorma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti 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 Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Dhanyavada Anantanji. Now let's have Janaganamana. Request Prakash ji to sing for us.
Janaganamana Adinayaka Jaya He Bharata Bhagya Vidata Punjab Sindhu Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchchala Jaladitaranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Ashisha Mage Gahe Tava Jaya Gada Janagana Mangala Dayaka Jaya He Bharata Bhagya Vidata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Dhanyawad sir.
Thank you, Prakash ji. Let us now.
I think there was some question by Mr. Ram Babu. He